friends. I'm Amy and this is A-Star Reads, and it's time to continue my Orilium catch-up vlog. So in the last video, I was trying frantically to get as many of my courses completed from my 2022 novice year of becoming a necromancer, because I still haven't finished all that, with the hopes of being able to get it all done before the 2023 spring equinox began. So in this video, you're gonna see where that goes and how far I make it. I had finished off my last video with an inscription course, which was Glyph of Strength, and that was to read an intimidating book. So I read Works and Days in Theogony by Hesiod. If you'd like to see that process and the other things that I completed in that video, I will link it up here. Otherwise, let's find out what course I'm going to be taking next. I'm going to spin the spinner wheel, and it looks like I'm going to be taking a conjuration course. So for this one, I needed to get my cue for the autumn equinox. And this course is Tales the Bones Tell, which I think sounds like a fun course. I'd actually like to take that course. I mean, really take it. And for this, we need to read a book that has a bone on the cover or in the title. So what works out perfectly for this is that it's March and I need to read the Bone season. So this is by Samantha Shannon. I did just barely start it last night. I'm 6 pages in, so honestly haven't gotten very far. It's a long one. I have a feeling it's gonna read pretty quickly, just based on what I've read so far from Samantha Shannon, just this little book that I read so far, The Pale Dreamer. I'm very excited about this, but I will be stopping every 2 chapters to check in with the Discord group, because this is our Bookstar read-along for the month of March. So as far as I can tell, this is about a character named Paige. I think she's 19 years old in this book. She is a clairvoyant. In fact, she's the highest level of clairvoyant. She's a dream walker. She's part of this, not guild, but they're like a gang almost. I don't know what they call them. A scion? No, that's the bad. Anyways, clairvoyancy is illegal in this world, and it's monitored by the scion, which is like how you work for the government or something like that. And clairvoyancy, especially when you use it for profit, is incredibly illegal. So you can actually be hanged or killed, or different things will happen to you if you are clairvoyant and you use your clairvoyancy for profit. So in their gang called the Seven Seals, Paige is the Demolisher. She basically backs up, or is the second to Jackson, who is the main person in charge of the gang. And he's, at this point in the very beginning, using her ability, because she has this ability that can span far distances, which a lot of people don't have this ability. This is very unique. He's using it to keep track of all the different clairvoyance within the area, because if you come into the area, into their region, and you don't announce to them that you're there, that you're going to be living there, or what have you, it could cause a lot of problems. I don't know what's going to happen. It sounds like something big happens in the very beginning that's going to change how everything is working out, just based on, like, she's kind of talking about how this is her last day doing this work, and I'm like, well, what does that mean? So I haven't got far enough to be able to tell you what that means. And all of these different clairvoyant clans or groups or whatever they are, they do illegal work, because that's the only way they can really make a living and be able to use their powers, but they have to do it all very hush-hush and nobody can know. So they have special names, actually. So like within the group, Paige's name is the Pale Dreamer, Jackson's the White Binder. The next important character is Nick, and he's the Red Vision. So they're called the Seven Seals because they have 7 people within the group, and they're all varying degrees of clairvoyancy. And there's actually like levels of clairvoyance, like soothsayers, augurs, mediums, censors, guardians, furies, and jumpers. And Paige is a jumper, so she's the highest level. Obviously, I'm going to keep this spoiler free. This is not a spoilery vlog, but I will tell you as much as I can, and especially about how I'm enjoying it as I go along.
So it is a really beautiful day today. It's finally starting to feel like spring, like really feel like spring. And last year we were deprived of our spring because it was really gray and wet and rainy like all spring until almost June. I have a feeling we're actually going to get spring this year. And spring is one of my favorite times of the year because as much as I like dark, gloomy weather, I love that feeling when the sun starts turning yellow because it's getting higher in the sky and you can just hear the birds, see new growth. It's such a reinvigorating time of the year. So I'm very excited because I think it's going to be a good spring. Let's hope I didn't just jinx myself. So we did end up going and doing spin this morning. It was a lot of fun. It was great to burn a few calories and we did sweat quite a bit. It was a good time. And that's it so far. I've done a little bit of I don't want to say editing. Mostly what I've been doing this morning is taking all the video footage and stuff that I have on my camera and uploading it onto my computer, separating it into the correct files that it needs to go in for whatever vlogs it's for. That whole process takes a bit of time. And then also clearing out what's taking up space on my computer by putting it on my backup drive. Like, it's a process. I still want to continue reading the Bone season, and I'm going to be house sitting for like the next 9 or 10 days. So I'm going to go later on today to find out what I need to know, how I need to prepare for the house sitting. So that's something that I'll be doing today. Other than that, I don't really have any big plans today. Last night I got to chapter 4. Actually, I made it a little bit further, but I got through chapter 4 of the Bone season. I've been very excited to pick up this book after reading The Pale Dreamer, the prequel. The Pale Dreamer gives us a lot more character development that we don't quite get, at least in the beginning of the Bone season. So it did help me to already start building those connections to those characters in The Pale Dreamer, because in this, especially in the very beginning, you're like, I don't have any strong feelings towards these characters because you don't really know them that well. And there's not much character development at the moment. But then, come chapter 3 and 4, there's a huge twist. It's like, it's just all of a sudden everything has changed completely. And I'm loving that. I'm so glad they did it. All of a sudden my attention is pulled in. I'm ready to read this book. Like, I'm just excited to get back into it today. So I don't want to give anything away, but I will say that this world of clairvoyance, Paige and the Seals, the group that she's part of in the syndicate are all the clairvoyants. It's a lot bigger and broader than we ever thought before. And there are different beings within the clairvoyant spectrum or whatever it is. And we learn a lot about that. There's a lot of action. Things move quickly. The writing is not the most descriptive. It doesn't spend a lot of time building that much, actually, you know, like in the sense that we're not building this world. We get to know a lot about the world, but it's not a lot of time spent on these details. And at first I was like, do I like that so much? But the action is exciting, and especially now that I'm getting into the part where things have changed and I can't wait to see how it goes forward, I'm really liking the pacing. The pacing is a good pacing. I don't know how much I'll be able to tell you because I don't want to be spoiling any of this, but I'll at least tell you how I feel about it and some of my thoughts on maybe not specific things that happen, but I don't know. One thing that has come up, and maybe this is a little spoilery, but I'm going to talk about it anyways, is that Paige is now in a setting where she's going to be learning more about her clairvoyance and building it. So it's kind of like, I don't want to say a school setting, but it's sort of that like training setting. And we will see what she ends up being able to do, because from the very beginning, we've known that her clairvoyance is unique and she doesn't quite use it to the max that she is capable of. And she ends up finding out in the first couple chapters that she can do things she never thought she could, and that she has a much stronger sense of clairvoyance than other people do. So it'll be interesting to see why she's so unique and how that translates to what she ends up doing with it.
Okay, so it's the evening. Well, I guess it's 5 already. Wow, where'd the time go? I ended up doing all my editing for the day. So I got my 2 hours completely finished, and I went over and found out what I needed to do for house sitting and dog sitting, and got to visit with my friends that I'm house sitting for. So I haven't had a chance to talk to them or see them in a long time. So it was really fun to get to see them. And then I got home and I've got a box. A box. It was sitting on the patio. So let's see what this is. Okay. Oh, that's right. Oh my gosh, I forgot. I won Kaylani Simply Me's. She did a giveaway on her channel, I think for her TBR game, because I think she won the TBR game, and it was this round. They do like every other round where she gets to buy a book or then she does a giveaway. And I won. I just was like, whoa. So this is a no-brainer for a giveaway gift. I hope you love my favorite book of all time. Thank you again so much for your constant support. You are awesome and I appreciate you so much. Love, Kaylani Simply Me. So that's exciting. I'm a winner. I'm a winner. I like being a winner. Oh, yes. Oh my gosh. I'm so excited. I knew that Kaylani loves this one because she's read it so many times, and I'm gonna be reading it this year. I'm very excited for House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J Maas. I have a buddy read of this that's gonna be happening, I think, in June. That's so awesome. I'm so excited. Thank you so much, Kaylani. I am just thrilled. I hope I love it as much as you did, and this is just super exciting. It's beautiful. Ooh. Okay, let's look at the actual, so here's the cover as we've seen, but look how pretty that is. Oh, it's a gorgeous book. And then look how pretty the artwork is on this. And let's look at the back. Is it the same? Pretty much, I think. If for whatever reason you're not already following Kaylani, I will link everything you need to know about her channel in the description box below. Kaylani's wonderful. She has a great TBR game. I think that's how I initially found her, but she's also one of the co-hosts for Readathon. She does a lot of great things. She has a lot of great smut recommendations, which I really enjoy seeing what she has to say about those. And she's got a great personality. So go check out her channel. And thanks again, Kaylani. Excited because I've got a couple of gifts that I can't wait to open and see what kind of fun things my friends have been giving me. So I am getting close to my birthday. It's in 2 days. I know I haven't been doing much for BookTube. It's just been one of those months where I think that I needed a bit of a break because so much is going on. Not only with visitors, because I had Magda visiting and now Shell and Nathaniel are visiting, but then also because I have so much to do for school, and this is my first time doing a full mini unit lesson where I'm teaching actual lessons. That's happening next week, and I've written my first full lesson plan. The first one was super detailed because I had to submit that one, but the next 3 I don't have to submit, so I'm hoping that I won't have to make them as detailed. I'm gonna ask my cooperating teacher what she thinks. It's like exciting but nerve-wracking, and it's gonna be a lot. So I'm in between visiting Shell and Nathaniel. They're actually staying in Seattle. We went and spent the weekend with them, and then now I have class and homework and stuff, and then I'll go back for my birthday. Well, actually, we'll go back tomorrow, Thursday, and then spend my whole birthday with them, and then they'll fly back. So it's a very short whirlwind trip for us visiting them, but at least I get a chance to see them during my birthday time. So that's what's going on with me right now, and it's kind of been strange not posting anything on my YouTube channel, but I guess I got a little burnt out on editing, and I think that this has been a good opportunity for me to take a step back, take care of the things I need to take care of with my life, and the other non-bookish stuff and then come back fresh to this in March, because I love my channel, and I don't like feeling like it's a burden. I don't want to feel that way. It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be an enjoyment. This is why I did this, because it's something I love to do. So anyways, okay, long story short, I got a couple of gifts. The first gift is from my friend Natty. She is such a wonderful friend and subscriber. I will link her Instagram down below. That's where we mostly communicate. And she's the one that sent me this beautiful calendar that I love, and it's so cute. And I got something else from her. I got this really big package. So let's see what it is. Ula the owl who lost her hoot. How cute, I love this. I love children's picture books. I think picture books are important, especially because I'm gonna be teaching, and I don't know yet what grade I'm gonna be teaching. Right now I'm teaching 5th graders. Books like this are always important, and they're even important in your class if you have older kids, because you might have multilingual learners. These books are often more accessible, and I love the pictures. These are so cute. Okay, let's see what Natty had to say. Amy, here's a little something for your future classroom. Happy birthday, love, Natty. Yes, okay, this is perfect. I can't wait to read this and see what I think about it and hear Ula's story. Also, what I really like about the artwork is that this is like, this is collage work. I like different types of artwork when it comes to children's picture books. So I can't wait to find out what Ula's doing. And thank you so much, Natty. This is such a wonderful gift. It's just very thoughtful. Anytime anybody sends me gifts for my class, I know that they're rooting me on for my journey into becoming a teacher. So I really appreciate it. When Californians come to Seattle.
It's dripping in my hand. It's very cold.
Yeah. I got another gift in this Amazon package, and it feels like it's big. It feels like it might be a big one. So let's see what it is. Oh, Danielle. Happy 4-0, my love. Cheers for turning 40 with friends. Yes, Danielle and I, we are on the same page, so we totally know what it's like. This is your friendly reminder to get with Danielle about July. XOXO from Danielle. Yeah, so we had talked about celebrating our 40th birthday together and like meeting halfway. We're definitely gonna have to see if we can make that work, because that would be such a good time. So let's see what we got. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited about this. Thank you, Danielle. Oh. Continuing my collection, finishing my collection, because I have everything else. So I absolutely have loved Marissa Meyer's series. I loved all of it. I loved all of it, including the graphic novels, which some people didn't love as much as the novels and whatnot, but I really liked the graphic novel series. I especially liked the second book. I liked the first one because I felt like it gave you a good lead way into the second one, but I thought the second one was fantastic. And so I'm so excited about this because I now have a full, complete set of all of Marissa Meyer's Lunar Chronicles books. I mean, I know that there's like something that came out fairly recently that's like a choose your own adventure thing, and I don't have that, but I don't know if there's an actual physical form of that. I think it's more electronic. Thank you, Danielle. This is so wonderful and so exciting.
It's a part of it.
Oh my god, that's beautiful.
Wow, I wonder what makes that come out pretty.
This one's got one that's kind of opening.
Oh, look at that.
That's better.
Those look like little gems. Those
They
ones.
do, don't they?
Those
Oh,
like
look how
jewelry.
shiny they are.
Oh, they got actual gold on them, don't they?
How come there's one there? Is that guy hatching?
Probably. This one probably hatched.
When did they let him out?
Face through it.
This is me having fun, Mother.
Today was a good day. Today was a really good day. It's been getting better and better with my students because we've been creating more and more of a connection. And today, one student who's never asked me for help before asked me for help, and it just like totally made my day. He made my day. So I am feeling really good. There is definitely a point to connection before correction with students, you know, not correcting them until you've made a connection with them, because then it means more to them as well, because they respect you, they like you, and it's a lot easier to work through things. And just the fact that he finally felt comfortable enough to ask me for help, because every time I would ask him questions, it was like deer in headlight. So I was like, I'm not testing you, I'm just asking you a question. But it was a good day. So like that feels good, and I've been feeling better and better the last couple of weeks. I think I was pushing myself too hard at the beginning of this term to be like, not perfect. Well, yeah, of course, I'm a perfectionist. It's really hard for me to not strive for the very best of my ability. Also pushing myself to have those connections before they were ready. Like this student wasn't ready to have a connection with me until this point. You know, he needed to trust me first. And now I feel like he does. And it's like really cool. So yeah, it's an amazing learning experience for me. I'm learning so much just from being in the class half a day, 2 times a week. It's been a lot as far as what I have been learning. Next week, I do my lesson, and I'll be actually in the class the full week, except for Thursday. I'll be in the class full day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. And then I have my lessons 4 days. For those days, I'll get at least an hour, around an hour to teach and have them do my lesson plans. And I'm really like excited. I'm nervous. I'm nervous. My whole mini unit is on activism. And so we'll see how they take to it. They are doing some activism already with their projects that they're currently working on, but I'm going to take it a step further and also bring in how activism changes legislation and different things that can happen through activism, which will hopefully then lead into their next unit, which is government. So it's just moving along at a really quick pace, and before I know it, I'm going to be in my own class and having to figure out everything on my own. So it's nice to have a cooperating teacher to help me and like answer all my questions. So anyways, it's already a great day. And then I got another gift. I'm just feeling very spoiled right now. I'm feeling very spoiled, very loved, and I can't wait to see what's in here. This is from Barnes & Noble, so I don't know if there's like a gift card. Let's see. Okay, different day, different outfit. I want to double check and make sure who this gift was from before talking about these books because it didn't have any note in there because it was from Barnes & Noble. So this was from Di from Deese's 19 Hearts. She is just one of the most generous people. She is always sending me wonderful gifts, very thoughtful gifts. What she sent me were Waiting for Spring. This is the first in the series, this manga series, and is it LDK or is it L Love DK? I don't know. And this is also the first in the series. So she got these for me because she saw that they were on my want to read list on Goodreads. And the funny thing is I probably put these on my want to read list because of Di, because Di is the person that I go to learn more about manga. So thank you so much, Di. I'm so excited about these. I have been enjoying the manga that I've been reading. Not reading nearly as much as I would like to, but what I have been reading, I have been enjoying. And so I'm always looking for opportunities to try different types of manga. These ones sound fun because they're more contemporary type, and I think aside from Fruits Basket, which is like, it's an older series, so it's not super contemporary, and it's definitely got more of that magical fantasy element to it. I've only read like horror manga, so this is going to be a lot of fun, and I'm excited about these ones, and it's just exciting. So thank you so much, Di. I absolutely love these, and these will be perfect for readathons or just when I need to pick up something that's different or a break from the other types of books I've been reading. Because yeah, my reading has been not going so great lately, so mangas are nice for that. And then continuing on with birthday gifts, my mom got me some wonderful birthday gifts. I'm very excited about these. If you watch my channel for a while, I think you all know that I loved the Heartstopper series. Love it. Don't love, past tense. I love the Heartstopper series. And she got me all of them. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I can't wait to reread these. I'm a big fan. I did love the TV show, but I actually like the books more. Not saying anything's wrong with the TV show. The TV show is fantastic, but I absolutely love this series. So I can't wait. I think she's doing one more book in the series, isn't she? I can't wait to see when that one comes out. But we've got Heartstopper number 1, Heartstopper number, there goes my hair, Heartstopper number 2, Heartstopper number 3, and finally Heartstopper number 4. Oh, thank you so much, Mama. It's been a wonderful birthday. I had a really good birthday. Had a good day sightseeing in Seattle, eating amazing food. Every single meal was delicious and amazing and special. And then we went to the California Science Center and we went on a tour of the underground, because in Seattle, at least in Pioneer Square area, street level used to be one floor down, and then they had built on top of it because that whole area is built on water. I mean, basically it's part of the bay. And so the city had to make a lot of changes like in the 1800s because of just how bad it was, and then they had a giant fire. So it was fun to go on this tour, get to see parts of Seattle I've never seen before, and just, yeah, I love history, so it was a blast. And now I am working on school stuff, so the rest of my weekend is going to be spent focusing on the mini unit, but it's like a big thing for me that I'm going to be teaching this next week. I'm really nervous, but it's going to go well. I hope. wrecked. I'm feeling kind of wrecked. So I want to share you one great thing with one not so exciting thing, but I'm gonna share it anyways because that's kind of what's going on right now. I have put together my final assignments checklist. This is it. It's a lot more than I'd like it to be. And it's all due by next Thursday. So it's Thursday now and it's due by next Thursday. And some of these are pretty big. So we'll see how it goes. I'm just gonna start trying to, well, I still have stuff I have to finish for this week as far as I have one more lesson tomorrow, my final lesson for my students, and I have to kind of put together some of the stuff for that and plan it because everything has kind of changed with my lesson plan. So tomorrow's gonna look a lot different than it originally was gonna look. So I've got that to do today. I also need to work on my TBR video, but then this is my goal until next Thursday. So that's the not as exciting thing. The exciting thing is that I almost dropped my glass of water. That's not exciting. I got a gift. Woohoo! These have been carrying me through very well in this last couple of weeks. Actually, the weeks have been going well. It's just mentally exhausted. But having a birthday has been wonderful. It's been very helpful for making me feel special, alleviating some of the stress. Last night I actually went to dinner with my good friend Hannah. We went for drinks and then we went to dinner and it was just wonderful to spend time with a friend. I'm having a hard time waking up this morning. Drink some more coffee. Okay, my gift. Let's see what it is. Okay, happy birthday. This was my first 5-star of the year, so it seemed like the perfect gift. Natalie from Nat Cat's Bookish Cafe. Natalie, thank you so much. Oh my gosh, Natalie is so wonderful, and if you're not watching her channel, you should be. She's putting out so much content. I'm so impressed. I'm just so impressed, Natalie. Because remember when you were first thinking about doing your channel, you were like, I don't know if I'll have time for it. You've just hit the ground running. Everybody go check out Natalie's channel. She's just doing wonderful things, and she puts out really solid content. And of course, she's a wonderful person. She's a good friend, and I can't wait to meet you, Natalie. We're gonna have to plan a time. We live pretty near each other. We have to plan a time. Okay. Oh, yes! Okay. King and the Dragonflies. I'm so excited about this. I did read this. I gave it 5 stars a while ago, but I want to reread this because it's been a while. And I just thought this was such a beautiful book. I'm glad you loved it, Natalie. I'm gonna have this in my classroom, and I probably will try and read this to my students. Not this, I mean like when I'm actually a teacher in my own classroom, because I think this is such a beautiful story, but it's also a very important story about resilience, understanding who you are, identity, and everything like that. And I think it's so appropriate for a younger age range. Anytime that I can get a book that I love, but then also I can incorporate it into my classroom, because that, like, it's like, you know, 2 birds with 1 stone, and then I can share something that I've enjoyed with my students. Because one thing I have found is that at least the class I'm in right now, the kids are huge readers. They love to read. Not every single one of them, but I mean, most of the kids are huge readers in this class. I've felt a little bit of a dearth in my middle school books that I've read, because they're talking about this book and that book and this book, and books that I know very well or have heard of, and I haven't read them and I can't share that experience with them. But then of course the books that I have read that I can talk to them about a little bit, it's part of that relationship you're creating with the students. And when you can share a book with anybody, it's really special. But the kids just get so excited when you've read a book that they've read, and then like they love giving me recommendations. So I had put City Spies on my TBR at one point a long time ago, and I didn't get around to reading it, but the kids are like, you have to read City Spies, you have to read City Spies. And then Barren Grounds by David Alexander Robertson was part of this big book competition they were reading, and a lot of them put that one off until like the end. I don't know why, but they put that one off, and then that's turning out to be one of their favorite books. And I loved Barren Grounds, and I really love David Alexander Robertson's writing. It's been fun talking to kids about these books, and so I've realized how much more I can incorporate my love of books into my classroom in the future. I can see how this is going to be a very important thing within my classroom, because I love books and I love sharing books, and the kids really love reading them, and they want to share their feelings about the books as well. Like, they just love talking about books. In fact, a lot of our kids get in trouble in my class for reading when they should be paying attention to the teacher. And so it's like, you know, I mean, you're getting in trouble for reading. That's not too bad, in my opinion, you know. Well, you got a little bit of garbage there?
I've got some garbage here. He jumped right into my garbage bag.
What are you doing, little booger?
So my neighbors and I finally got around to continuing our weekly watch of one movie from this list of 500 books that are considered like 500 of the all-time best books based on this algorithm that some Reddit person created. And we were randomly generating them. And the last one that we randomly generated was Onibaba, which is from 1964. And it's a Japanese horror/drama. It was one that I was very curious and interested in. And it ended up not being that great, or at least we didn't end up enjoying it as much as we wanted to. The cinematography was very creative and very unique for the 1960s. However, the story starts out well and interesting. It's about these two women during the time when there are samurais attacking something. I don't exactly know what the actual war in place is. It's like 15th century or something along those lines, and there are two kingdoms, two different emperors, and there's a lot of wars between these two. I mean, it's the same kingdom, but I guess are two opposing sides that are trying to battle out who's going to be the emperor of everything. So these two women are, this one woman, she is a middle-aged woman, and living with her at the moment is her daughter-in-law, because her son had gone off to war, and the two women are basically living there trying to survive. And they've resorted to killing samurai that are either injured or coming back, and they're trying to get away from the opposing side, or they're trying to get back to their homes. And anytime they come across these samurai, they kill them, take everything that's on them, and try and sell that to survive. They usually get just millet from this guy who is doing all the trading. At one point, the friend of the mother's son comes back, and the son does not. And he says that the son died. And these women are like, what are we going to do? We've been surviving, but they're devastated, you know. The young girl's husband's gone. The mother is obviously devastated. Her son is dead. And then, the story just goes downhill from there. It just does. It really just becomes about this new neighbor that comes back, and he's a pretty creepy, nasty guy, and he's trying to get with the widowed wife. And it just becomes about this lust and this sex between these two characters, and then this mother trying to stop things. And Onibaba means demon woman. So, just so you know, that's what that means, demon woman. And it was entirely too long. The first 30 minutes were fun, and they were interesting, and I thought it was going to go somewhere where we could follow a story that we would enjoy. But it doesn't. And you just got a creepy guy creeping on this young girl, and her falling for it, and the mother trying to stop this relationship from happening. That's what happens. That is the story. Onibaba was 492 on the list, so I mean, I can see the value in it for cinematography's sake, and maybe enjoyable for other horror lovers, although I didn't feel like it was very heavily focusing on the horror. I think there was a little bit more psychological element to the horror, but I don't know. It just wasn't for me, and that's okay. We've had pretty good luck so far. We've enjoyed most of these movies. In fact, I think this was the one that we enjoyed the least. And so I'm hoping that the next one we watch, which is number 33 on the list, 33, I'm hoping that's going to be better. And I'll talk to you about that one after I've watched it. But it looks like it's going to be a super depressing movie.
Let's do a little bit of catching up, because it's been a crazy past couple of days, and I didn't end up getting a chance to read. Look at my eyes, they look red. Yeah, I didn't get enough sleep last night. I'm dog sitting right now, and yesterday was the first day. I went over there and was taking care of the dogs, and one of the dogs is she's just difficult. Let's put it that way. She's just very, very difficult. It was very stressful, and trying to get her used to me and comfortable with me. And then, you know, of course she's upset because family's not there, and there was a lot of factors, but it was a really rough day yesterday. Every time I tried to sit down and read this, I'd read like the same paragraph 20 times, and I just couldn't focus enough to read because we were trying to deal with this difficult situation that was rough. But I think she's calmed down a lot today. I've learned her better and understand things that are working with her and things that don't work, and how the dynamics between the two dogs are, and how that can be an issue and a dynamic with the territory of the backyard and how that can be. So like, I'm learning a lot. And granted, the owners told me some of this stuff, but at the same time, she's gonna act differently when she is not with people that she trusts or knows. And she was having a very hard time. So, and I was having a very hard time. So it was a day. Yesterday was a day, but it's over. Today has been a really good day. I was able to get quite a bit of reading in when I was with the dog over at the house. I was able to relax enough in the situation to be able to just lay there and read for a while. So I'm currently on page 132. Maybe not as far as I'd like to be, but I am reading this pretty quickly when I actually sit down to read it. And I did do my 2 hours of editing today as well. So things on that front are going really well. And I actually did work on some of my laundry folding today. Not for very long, but just enough to feel like, okay, I'm getting back into the groove. I am hoping to take her to like a dog spot. They have these sniff spots where they're fenced in and you can take animals to run. And I'd like to take her to run because I think she's high energy. She's really bored. She's young. She's a very young dog. And she needs somewhere to run, but I don't trust her, know her well enough to be able to take her to like a dog park or something like that. So I'm not going to do that. But they have these neat sniff spots, which my neighbor loves because they've taken their dog to it. And it's like people rent out their backyard or they rent out their property, like in Airbnb or something like that. We drove around today for a while just to see how well she handles the car ride. And she did really well. So that is a little bit of relief because then when we try to go to the sniff spot, she'll be chill in the car. So yeah, anyways, that's kind of what's going on right now. And it's been very consuming of my time. So I'm trying to figure all that out while still enjoying my spring break as much as I possibly can. And today felt like I could enjoy it a lot more. Back to this. Bone season. As I mentioned before, I didn't want to talk about this too much because there's kind of like a big twist at the beginning. But what I can say about this is that the pacing is great. There's a lot of things happening. It happens pretty quick. Some of the information that we learned about Paige in The Pale Dreamer were just now they're starting to go over some of it, like her family and her history. That's kind of a funny place, you know, like it's like they wanted to front load you with all the action and the things that are going on, get you to know these people from more of a what they're doing sense, and then now they're adding on a little bit of history, a little more information on Paige. And I'm not sure how I would feel about that if I hadn't read The Pale Dreamer. Would I have liked the character of Paige very much if I hadn't read this prequel? I don't know, because I do like character development. To me, she doesn't have the most likable personality. She's not awful or anything, you don't get to know her at all at the beginning, so you don't have any strong attachment to her, I don't think. I like her because I read about her in The Pale Dreamer, but I'm curious for people who haven't read The Pale Dreamer and only started this book, did you have a difficult time connecting with Paige at first? I'd be curious. Let me know in the comment section down below if that's true, just because I think it's interesting that they don't really start talking about her as a person or her background and her family and how her situation became what it is until this far in, 132 pages. So I like that we're getting sort of a found family vibe. There's some new characters that have come into this story that I can see Paige linking up with, but then there's also been a really tragic thing that's happened and I actually got choked up. So that was a pretty well-written, sad scene. There's a lot of things going on in this, and the other types of clairvoyance are brutal. They're absolutely brutal. They're really written to be these really mean characters. And it's interesting because I don't quite understand their motivations. So I'm looking forward to finding out more about them and why they are the way they are. At this point, they're just bad. And so I'm wondering, is that it? Is that all there's to it? We have one character who is around Paige a lot, who is one of these other types of clairvoyance, and you get the feeling that he's a little different, or there's something different about him. So I'm just curious, like, what are we going to find out about these other types of clairvoyance? And there's some interesting magic that is going on where Paige is finding out more about these clairvoyants, and I'm wondering if she can get more power for herself because of them. So yeah, there's me being really cryptic, but I'm trying to say things without giving anything away. It's very easy to read when I pick it up, and so I'm hoping to get through this more quickly now that I feel like I have a little more time to read. Anyways, that's it for my update right now. If I get any fun footage over the next few days, I'll share it with you, but I don't know if I'm going to. We're just kind of taking it one day at a time right now and seeing how things go. I've dog sat the other dog at this house before, but then they got this puppy about a year ago, and she's just new to me. And this is their first time going away, taking a trip away from her, and I think that we've all taken it a bit rough. So that's it. That's my story.
Oh, it is just beautiful this evening. What do you think, Cease? Is it nice? The weather's getting so pretty.
It's morning. I'm tired. So coffee is getting ready. So if you hear a lot of noise in the background, that's coffee getting ready. I just wanted to give you an update on my schooling, my lessons. So for Tales the Bones Tell, for Conjuration, I am currently at least a third of the way through, a little over a third of the way through. I'm on page 180 and I'm making good progress on this. So I'm going to continue working on this. Typically, you would need to finish this class before taking, at least in my mind, when you're taking classes, usually you take the prerequisite before you go on to the next one. However, today I'm starting a buddy read with a friend. And the D for Conjuration is Raise the Dead Theory. And for that, it's to reread a favorite book. So I am buddy reading Rebecca, which is a book that I gave 5 stars to that I really loved. And I'm starting that today. We're doing 50 pages a day. So I'm hoping that I'll still be able to get this one done before this one. But what I'm thinking of doing is sneaking into this class and using the knowledge I already have from this class to do as much as I possibly can in this class. But hopefully I can get this one done before we get any further in this and I am out of my element. Let's just put it that way. You know, like I don't have the knowledge, the background knowledge to be able to continue. So I am going to be doing my 50 pages a day. I'm going to count this for Raise the Dead Theory, take this class, and I'll be continuing to try and get this one done as soon as possible because Squash That Series starts tomorrow. I mean, I'm not going to get it done before Squash That Series starts, but I'd like to at least make as much progress as possible. Also, this is the first in a series, so I could count it as 1 point towards Squash That Series. And this isn't in a series, so I just can't count it all. I just wanted to let you know that I'm sneaking into this class a little earlier than I was supposed to because I'm starting this buddy read, and I don't have any other favorites that I'm planning on rereading anytime soon, so this is it. So, 2 classes at once. It's okay, I'm used to having more than 1 class, but just not usually on the same topic. That's my plans. Okay, so between yesterday and today, I have made it 98 pages into Rebecca. We're doing about 50 pages a day of this, Kim and I reading it together and then commenting through WhatsApp. So we're just reading our little sections and then chatting, and it's been wonderful. And it's so fun to get back into this. It was very interesting because at first I was struggling with the very beginning of this, because if I compare this to Bone Season, the writing style is, understandably, considering it's a gothic novel, incredibly detailed comparatively, because the Bone Season, actually, Samantha Shannon's writing style is not incredibly detailed, and I feel like now that I'm further along in it, we're starting to get a little more of the back history of Paige. But even when she's describing scenes, it's usually because of activities and things that are going on. There's a little bit of description, but there's not a lot. So it was almost jarring going into this book that was so incredibly detailed.
And the first chapter is only like 4 pages long, and it's just her dream that she's having of Manderley. It was just so detailed that I was like struggling to get into it. And I'm like, oh man, I originally gave this book 5 stars. Am I going to feel that way this time around? But now that I'm into it and remembering what I love so much about it, I am loving it. I'm really just loving it. There's a cringe level to this story with this main character, with our protagonist, that it makes you feel things. And you can tell there's a sense of foreboding. And it's intended, in fact. In the very beginning, we are following our protagonist, actually recalling the past. And things have changed. Some big dramatic event did happen. And her and her husband are living a very different life now. So it's like, that's no secret. Something happened. We're now going back into the past and learning about what happened from the moment she met her husband, Maxim de Winter, and then what happened when she went to Manderley, which was his big estate. I appreciate what that detail is intended to do at the beginning. And really, it's intended to set this gothic tone, desperation and sadness and desolation and spookiness. Like, it's meant to make Manderley seem spooky at the very beginning. That's supposed to get you thinking about the vibe of this book as you go forward, like what to expect from it. So I'm happy, but I do recognize that a big part of the reason why this was a little hard for me to get into at first was because I'm also reading Bone Season at the same time, and the writing styles are so completely different. Very different. I haven't had a chance to read the Bone Season at all today or yesterday. I did my 2 hours of editing yesterday. It's that time of the month for me as a lady, and I've been having a lot of stomach issues. And so I'm trying to deal with that. As I'm getting older, I'm finding I have a lot more stomach issues than I did in the past. So certain things don't hit right. Or if I don't get enough vegetables in my diet, my stomach rebels in a very strong way. So I had a hard time sleeping last night. Today I've been back and forth taking care of the dogs, and they're pretty chill. It's not a very nice day outside, so they didn't get to bask in the sun, poor things. I did play tug of war a little bit with the puppy. And now that I'm done with my 50 pages of this, I can get on to the Bone Season, because Squash That Series has started. I do have a lot of other books that I planned on reading for my TBR for Squash That Series, but because I want to finish the Bone Season, and that's first in the series, it will count for Squash That Series. I'll do a completely separate vlog for that, but I wanted to finish the Bone Season first for this vlog. And that's it for now. It's a Sunday, so I don't have any plans to do anything at all. Just need to relax. And because I've been having so many issues with my stomach, I just need to be very chill. It is the morning. And I am... what am I doing? I'm a little muddle-headed today. Actually, I'm a lot muddle-headed. I have my 50 pages to read of Rebecca, so I've started that this morning. I've only made it, like 4 pages, but I'll get my 50 pages in today. Then I did make it over halfway. That's what I have left. So I'm over halfway with the Bone Season and just flying right through this thing and having so much fun with this. I'm really enjoying it. I would consider this more of a mature YA, especially considering some of the other YAs I've read recently. I would consider this more mature YA, and definitely on the darker side. Pretty dark themes and things that happen. It's a little gruesome at times. Not hugely so, but a little bit. And I am just really enjoying that. Not the gruesome elements, because it's sad, but I mean, like, I guess I'm enjoying it. I don't know. I'm currently editing. I'm trying to get an hour in before challenge day. So Squash That Series started yesterday, and right now this is my only book that I'm reading for Squash That Series, even though it's the first in the series. I want to get this one done before I actually get to my books that are further on in the series. Today is challenge day though, because Bailey from Is Bailey Reading, she's the one that's hosting this, her and Caleb Reads. It's her birthday today. So happy birthday, Bailey! On her birthday, she wanted to do challenge day. So the way challenge day works is every hour on the hour, she sets a challenge, and then you have that whole hour to do that challenge, or whatever the challenge is, you need to try and do it within that hour. And then you get points if you complete the challenge. So I would like to do that. She's doing it for 8 hours today. So she's doing 8 different challenges from 12 to 8 p.m. I'm hoping to do that throughout the day. I'm still taking care of the dogs and going back and forth, making sure they're okay. And so I will do all the ones that I can and then get points
for whatever I end up getting. So that will be for Squash It series, and I'll kind of give you a bit of an update as that goes along. I'm just really tired right now, and I'm feeling better today than yesterday. I made myself a fruit smoothie this morning for breakfast. I'm trying to make sure I have some more fruit and vegetables in my life because we haven't had a chance to go shopping, and so I don't have a lot of like healthy, fresh foods at the moment. I think that's a big part of the reason why my stomach rebelled against me. So I need to make sure I'm keeping those in my diet. Challenge day has started. The first prompt is self-care reading, and I'm just waiting to see what that actually means, so hold on. Okay, so it basically just means to read whatever you want to read, do some self-care things while you're reading or listening to an audiobook, and I've decided I'm actually going to start a new book because what I think of self-care is something that's cozy and fun. And so for Squash That series, one of the books that I want to read is I Married a Merman, which is monster smut. So I'm gonna read that, or at least start reading that, and that'll be my self-care for this. I don't know if I'll do it for the whole hour, but I have to at least do it for 5 minutes. Okay, so it's now 11 a.m. The next challenge is to add up the number of letters in your name, your full name, and read that many pages in the book. So I have 14 letters in my full name, and so I'm gonna get back to the bone season and read 14 pages of this. I can read 14 pages within an hour, so let's see how it goes. Okay, so I read bone season for 14 pages, and it took me about 25 minutes to finish that. And now I'm heading back over to check on the puppers and see how they're doing, and we'll see what happens in a half an hour when I've got my next challenge. Checked on the dogs. It's rainy, so they're a little bored today, but gave them some treats. And I've already finished the 12 o'clock challenge, which was to take the current book you're reading. So I'm currently reading the Bone Season, and how many points that would get you for this round of Squash That series. Because it's only the first in a series, it would get me 1 point, and multiply that by 5. So I actually got lucky with this one because I only had to read 5 pages. Some people are reading books that are further along in the series times 5. That's a lot more pages for them to read. So it's not good for my ultimate points, but it's good for this particular challenge. So I finished my 5 pages, and I am starving, so I'm gonna get myself something to eat. Okay, so time for the next challenge, and it turns out that you're supposed to read outside only for this hour. And that doesn't necessarily mean you have to read the whole hour outside. It just means that if you want to read anything, it has to be done outside. So the minimum amount of time that you can do it to get the point is 5 minutes. So as long as I'm out here reading for 5 minutes, I've made the time. Luckily, I'm in the middle of editing, so I don't necessarily need to read that much right now this hour. But if I wanted to read, it would have to be done outside. So I have well, you're on my phone right now, but but I have my ebook on here for I Married a Merman, and I'm going to open that up after I'm done updating you. And Cece's out here enjoying the outdoors. It's raining a bit. And I'll read for at least 5 minutes, if not more, of I Married a Merman, and then we'll go back inside and I'll finish editing. Okay, so it's 2 o'clock, time for the next challenge, and this challenge is to switch books. Now, that's been fine for me because I've been switching back and forth between the Bone Season and I Married a Merman. So this last round, I did I Married a Merman, so now I'm going to read the Bone Season. So this whole round for this whole hour, well, it has to be 5 minutes of switching to a different book, and then I could switch back, but I think I'm gonna work on the Bone Season and read this for a while. I've been editing, and I'm tired of editing for a little bit, so I'm gonna read for a little while. Okay, so we just got our next challenge, and it was to read until you came across a food item or a mention of food. So I thought it was going to take a while because we're kind of going into a battle scene in the Bone Season. But before the battle, they actually stopped to pick up some food. Inside the bag were 2 hot cartons from Breck-a-Box, the Citadel's favorite fast food joint. Carl came around with a jolt. I opened my box and found a breakfast wrap, a serviette, and a pot of porridge. So that only took me 7 minutes. It was really quick that I found it. Now my reading for this hour is technically done. I probably should work on editing, but I kind of want to keep reading. Okay, challenge time. The next challenge is to read until I see a color. So we'll see how long that takes. Colors are usually pretty good because they use them for descriptions a lot, so it shouldn't take too long. Okay, that took like 3 minutes. I ended up landing on the word black eye because the character got a black eye. That's color. I still want to read though. It's like it's really into the good stuff now. Okay, it's time for the final challenge of the day for challenge day, and this one is to
read your book. When you come to the end of a chapter, if the chapter ends on an even number of pages, like so if the page that it ends on is even, you continue reading the same book. If it ends on an odd number, switch books. And she said to at least do one switch. I'm just going to try and read as much as I can in this hour because this is the last part of the what is this? Challenge day. So I'm going to start with Bone Season because this is what I'm really into right now and things are just very exciting at the moment, and we'll see what happens when I end up having to switch. Right now I'm on just starting chapter 23.
Okay, so let's talk about the progress that I made during challenge day. It was a lot of fun. And I got full 8 points for the day, which I was able to turn into 4 points for my goal. So my goal is 20 points for Squash That Series week. And you get those points by reading books that are higher in a series. So 7 is 7 points. Like this book is the 7th in the series, so it's worth 7 points. I am currently reading the first in a series. That's only worth 1 point, but I wanted to get this done before I got to all the other books that I have for Squash That Series. So today I read a lot of this. I think I started at page 260 and now I'm on page 342. Let's see where the end is. Here's the end. So I have just over, it's 452. I'm on 342. So I have 110 pages left of this book of the Bone Season. So I made a lot of progress and it feels really good. There's a lot going on. It's kind of hard to put this book down right at the moment, but I also have other things I want to accomplish. The other thing that you'll have noticed was I had to switch things up during the challenge. So I ended up picking up I Married a Merman, which was one of my Squash That Series books that I wanted to read. And that's the 4th in this series. So that would be worth 4 points. And I got 17% of the way through that one. So I made good progress on that. And it's a quick read because it's like a short romance and they're just fun. I will not actually get this one done tonight. I had hoped I would. I haven't had a chance to read any of Rebecca today, so I need to read my 50 pages, well, 46 pages of Rebecca before the day is through. And challenge day was so much fun. I'm glad I got to participate in the whole thing because it was a highlight for sure. Given an update in a couple of days. It's been not too much going on, just watching the dogs, doing a lot of video editing, and then reading. And I'm currently almost at page 200, I think I'm 195 of Rebecca, and just having such a good time rereading this, enjoying all the bits and pieces that I have forgotten about it. And of course, it's a Gothic novel, so it's very detailed. And what I love about this particular writing, Daphne du Maurier's writing, is how much she focused on senses like sound and smell. You can really picture what's going on in the story because she's giving us this great sensory experience in a sense. But then of course, you've got this character, this protagonist that is very young and naive, and she makes these decisions that you're like, what are you doing and why are you doing this? And you're making everything so much more difficult for yourself. But then the funny thing about it is, as Kim and I have been talking about it, we both find very big similarities to, maybe not necessarily how we are to the protagonist, but in some of the choices and some of the things that the protagonist does and says, and indicative of some of the first experiences we had in our 20s when we were maybe in relationships or something like that. And how in hindsight you can see that you might actually do things like this. And so I do think it's very interesting how the emotions are being brought out so that you can actually feel like, even if this isn't you, there's parts of it that you can kind of say, okay, yeah, I've been there. And then as far as the Bone Season goes, I'm still in the thick of the fight scenes and stuff. I read a little bit last night, but I was so tired that I didn't read very much. I read like 4 or 5 pages. It's just gotten to like this height. Like I can see where this book
needs a bit of editing in the sense that this was her first novel. I can totally tell where things should have been smoothed out a little bit more, or maybe they should use different terms, or, you know, just, I can see where things could be tweaked. I think Samantha Shannon is planning on doing some rewriting when she puts out her next edition of the Bone Season. And it would be interesting to read it and see how much of a change she makes, because there's so many really cool ideas here. It's so fascinating, so fast-paced, very exciting, and very clever. But it's not perfect. You know, the writing is not perfect. And for someone who has become a much bigger writer now, or at least has become a much more experienced writer, I imagine that she's like, okay, I can make this amazing story even better now. And so it'd be interesting to see what she does to change it. I'm just getting some Starbucks now. The line was very long.
I have finished the Bone Season! So this class is finished Conjuration, The Tales Bones Tell. In this case, it was actually more The Tales Ghosts and Auras Tell, but this was so good. I had so much fun with this. I have a lot of thoughts. I'm giving it 4.5 stars, actually. And I know that there were some issues with this book, meaning this was a debut novel. There were a lot of elements to the ending of this that I felt could have been, actually, this could have been a longer book in my opinion, because the last third of this was rushed through quite a bit. And I feel like there was so many loose ends that didn't get tied as completely as I would have liked at the end, or we could have spent more time on some of these different things that were happening. I know that Samantha Shannon probably wanted the pacing to be fast and things to happen very quickly, but I feel like there were so many different thoughts and ideas that she had, so many different neat ideas, really cool ideas. But when you have that many, you have to give them time, or let go of some of them, because if you don't and you try to pull it all together at the end and it doesn't necessarily come together perfectly well, or people are left questioning, like, well, what's the importance of this? Or why was this important? I think that that can be a little frustrating for some readers. I still enjoyed this. I thought the ride was so fun, and I just loved Samantha Shannon's, like, brain and where it decided to go with this. Very creative, and I'm so excited to get to the next book. Honestly, I'm really excited. I don't want to have to wait. I can't wait for the Mime Order. It does feel like a YA, especially at the end. I know that was something that Kim and I were talking about, where Paige just makes these really irrational decisions that continue, and I mentioned it before, but they continue on until the end. She just keeps making these decisions where you're like, what are you thinking about? And I think that reminds you that she's only 19 years old, and she's had a lot of experiences in life that she doesn't know when and how to make the right decisions at all times. So I'm not saying that completely lets Paige off the hook for making these decisions, but it doesn't surprise me. I wasn't that surprised about that. It could be a little annoying at times, but it's still a YA. Like, as much as there are dark scenes in this and there is some complexity to the storyline which makes it feel more adult, this is not an adult novel. It's not. So I really liked certain parts of this. I want more of certain parts of it. And that's, I think, where either we'll get that from the next couple of books in the series, or maybe that'll be some of the changes that'll come if Samantha Shannon does end up changing some of this. I don't know. I got through it very quickly, considering how big this book was. It was 452 pages. I could easily see rereading this. This is fun. This is so much fun. Okay, so now that I have actually finished my Q level course for Conjuration, I can, with good conscience, continue my course, my D level course, Raise the Dead Theory, where I'm reading Rebecca, and this is to reread a favorite. So I'm currently right there on page 195, and I need to get to page like 250 by the end of today ish. 258 is where it'll end for today. So that's the section I have to read today. I'm making really good progress in this. It's just so good to be rereading this book. I have wanted to read some of the books that I loved and gave 5 stars to like 8, 10, 12, 15 years ago, because since I've been reading so much more, especially since BookTube, has my taste in reading changed all that much? I read Shadow of the Wind by Carlos Ruiz Zafón, and that was still a 5 stars. I still loved it just the same amount. And so far, I'm loving this just the same amount, I think, as I did when I first read it. So maybe my taste hasn't changed all that much, but we'll see. I'm only halfway through, so we'll see how it goes as I continue on. Okay, so one of the things I wanted to talk about, and I had planned on doing a separate series for this, and it doesn't look like that's going to happen just because it's just not happening, apparently. My adventure through Aldea. I started in February and I read Guilty Pleasures, which was to turn left, and that was to start a series. And so that worked out well for that one. But the next one was the February choice, and that was either To Go to the Forest, which is a book that has trees on the cover, or To Go Towards a Lake, which was a book that had water on the cover. And I didn't do that yet. It hasn't happened yet. So what I'm thinking I'm going to do for that is I'm currently reading I Married a Merman. And if you look at this picture, it has water on the cover. I mean, he's a merman. So that's going to be my choice for my February. And that means that after turning left, I went towards a lake. And so then in March, I am meant to fight a giant. So I need to fight a giant, which is a book over 500 pages. So my intentions for that is to read Fool's Errand. I don't want to start this quite yet until I have finished Squash That series. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to end this vlog here. I'm going to end my journeying through Orilium. Well, I'm going to continue taking my course on conjuration, and I will update you on this book in the next vlog that I do for Orilium, because I want to try and get everything finished before April. I don't know that that's going to happen, but I will try. And if anything, I will still be carrying over the prompts that I have to complete for last spring equinox and this last autumn equinox. And I will make sure I finish those first in April before continuing on with my courses for this school year, because I can't be considered the next level of necromancer until I get these courses finished. So I'm going to end this vlog here, but I will be starting a new one soon after I finish Squash That series and I squash all my series, and I will let you know how this goes. And then I will also hopefully get to this one, which is my next in my journey, my adventure through Aldea. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe so you can see if I actually finish everything I need to finish before April happens. I don't think it's gonna happen that way. I think I'm gonna be carrying some courses into April, but that's okay because I'm currently in a reading mood. So let's just keep on reading. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you later.